Hey guys, welcome to the Positive Experience podcast, where we look at the good, the bad and the ugly in living your best life. Today's segment is on the H.E.A.D'S. The acronym stands for Health Experts and Disruptors. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome aboard to the Positive Experience podcast. Today the segment is on health experts and disruptors, the H.E.A.D'S. And today I've got my friend Shek. We go way back, but it's been a long time between drinks. Shek, how are you?
Very good, mate. Very good. Enjoying this time off from work. So, yeah, just relaxing at home, training at home, spending time with the wife. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. So, Shek and I, just as a little side note, we went to high school together. So this is another sort of selfish thing for me because it's been long overdue to have a chat. So let's just start off, Shek, with telling us a
Just
bit
on
about
that point. Just on that point, I've still got this photo of you with this massive afro. I think it's me, you, and Mitchell, and you've got this huge afro just sitting there, and we're all just staring at the camera, trying to mean mug.
Oh,
it's
man.
Hilarious.
You got to send me that photo because I had that afro before Guy Sebastian, FYI. Okay, so
I definitely remember that. Definitely before Guy.
Shek.
I think he copied you.
All right, big fella. So what are you up to? Tell us a bit about FitKids.
So before I started FitKids, I was teaching. So I'm a primary school teacher by trade. I taught for 7 years, and then I basically took the year off with the intention of going back. And during that year off, I started working at my brother's gym. And then about 3/4 of the way through, I realized I didn't want to go back to school. I was loving this job. I mean, I love teaching, but this job was just a little bit better in terms of the lifestyle it allowed me to live. So I resigned from teaching and I started working full-time at a gym. During this period, even when I was teaching, I started taking kids boxing program, which has sort of morphed into a kids fitness program. So it started out as a casual side business that I used to do on Saturdays with my business partner. And it all started from someone asking my brother if they had anyone that could train their son. So I started training him, and then I just said, maybe I'll start some kids classes. So I started that, asked my business partner, who was also a school teacher, a high school teacher, and he said, yeah, I'll help. So we started off in 2013. That's how long ago we started the program. It was really casual, no advertising, no marketing really. And we just used to take classes on Saturday, one class. Sometimes we'd have one kid, sometimes we'd have two, sometimes we'd have no kids come. Anyway, so we did that for up until around 2019 or 2018, and then we just started getting more and more kids. So it went from one class, and now we're running 7 classes, 3 different age groups. Before we just had the one age group, so we've got 5 to 8 year olds, 9 to 13, and 14 to 17.
Wow!
And before all this shit happened, the COVID, we had almost 70 members, so kids signed up, and it was a membership base. So you could access as many classes as you want during the week, and then pay a membership fee. So yeah, it was going really well, and everything that I did was experimental. I mean, I have no marketing background, I have no business background, I have a teaching background. So that came in really handy in terms of being able to teach and communicate with kids and communicate with parents and show them that what we run is not really a boxing program, but it's a really wholesome fitness program that focuses on confidence, resilience, persistence, building friendships, fitness as well as strength. And then boxing comes in there, sort of intertwines all throughout our lessons. Until this shit hit, we've been doing really well. So,
man, I hear you. I think we've all been thrown the curveball, and I think where I want to come back to, right, is that time when we were in high school. So to frame this up, right, Shek was one of these guys that sort of, my impression was always happy-go-lucky, you know, just sort of just roll with what's happening. Even though he may have the littlest rig in terms of size, he had the biggest heart. So he played first 15 rugby, I remember, and I chickened out. I just didn't have the guts to play first 15, you know. And so Shek is always one of those guys that will just give anything a go. If I was to go back to high school, right, and you're heading towards the education pathway, how did you know that you were heading towards becoming a teacher? Was it because you're a people person, or you just didn't like anything else?
Well, actually, straight out of high school, I didn't do teaching. I did. I signed up to do risk management at Caulfield Monash, and I did 2.5 years, I did 2 years of risk management, and I fucking hated it. I just struggled with going to class, sitting in class, doing business assignments, accounting, macroeconomics, microeconomics. I just couldn't stand it. And by the end of my second year, I was just chatting with my mum, my brother and dad, just talking, shooting the shit, basically, just talking about uni. And I was like, I can't stand this. And I can't remember who said what, but I decided that I would change into teaching. So I just said, all right, fuck it. I only had a year left of risk management as well. I only had a year left. And I thought, maybe I'll finish it. And I thought, I'm never going to do it. I can't see myself at a desk job. I have too much energy to sit at a desk job. I'd probably lose the job eventually anyway. So I changed into teaching at Melbourne Uni. So I tried at different unis. So I tried at Australian Catholic Uni, Monash, not Clayton. I think Clayton had a teaching degree, or Berwick. I can't remember which one, and Deakin. And so I applied and I got into Melbourne. I don't know how the fuck I got into Melbourne because I had terrible marks from my Caulfield business course. Like I failed a whole bunch of subjects and got passes and stuff like that. So I got into Melbourne and I did that for 4 years. And while I didn't like every aspect of the course, there were certain things that I loved. Like I loved going on work placement. So I'd go to primary schools. I went to kindergartens, which was really fun but hard work. I went to childcare centres. So I'd worked in babies' rooms. So I've changed nappies. I worked in, toddler rooms from 3-year-old kinder, 4-year-old kinder, primary schools. So I'd worked in grade 3 and grade 4 in different placements. And I loved going to placement. That was my favourite part of teaching. Doing the course was going on placement and interacting with kids and teaching them and that. And yeah, so I finished after my 4th year and I applied for a ton of jobs and I didn't get any interviews. And then I was chatting to a uni friend and I was just chatting to her and I told her that, I can't get any interviews. And she goes, we're looking for a teacher at my school. And I said, oh, man, can you put my name up? And she told the principal, and basically I called the principal and he said, I just come in with your resume. So I came with my resume and I just basically had an informal discussion with him. And he said to come back for a formal interview. And then, I got the job. It's funny because that was the only interview I sat and so I got the job. And then I looked at my resume later on and I was like, that's probably why I didn't get any interviews because it was a pretty shit resume. And you have to answer key selection criteria when you apply for school jobs. So they have 6 or 7 key selection criteria. And obviously my answers weren't very good. But years later, I find out, I was chatting to the principal. He's not the principal anymore at the school. Years later, he goes, I didn't even look at your resume. But the reason why I had you come in for an interview and the reason why I hired you is because I loved your enthusiasm, your passion, and you look like you just really cared and you had a lot of energy, positive energy, and that's why I hired you. And, and then I started. And when I first started teaching, I had no fucking clue about teaching. I 4 years at university and all the bookwork that I did, I feel like I really didn't learn anything that I needed to learn to start school I went into my first 3 years of school was prep. Okay, so prep is probably the hardest year to teach, in my opinion, because you have these little children who I used to say they're not human when they first come in, because they come in and they just don't understand structure. They can't follow simple instructions, because in kinder it's very free flow. They can do whatever they want. They go to this activity, 20 seconds later, I don't like it, I'm going to run to this activity. There's no structure, so they just sort of move however they want to move. But in school, it's different. It's, you line up, you come here, you move in. This is what we're doing now. Now we're going from floor time to seat time, back to floor time. There's movement, but it's a bit more uniformed. So anyway, I was teaching in prep in my first year out, okay? And the first day I went in there, I was so lucky. The school that I taught at, Wallarana Primary School, provides lots of support for new teachers, and even if you've been teaching a while. And I had an extra teacher in there to help me. And I was just in there going, I have no idea what I'm doing. I had no behavior management strategies. I had zero behavior management strategies. I really was, the best thing I was able to do was able to interact with kids, but I didn't know how to get them to transition from one task to the other. Even when I was teaching them different topics, I'd have to work out what language I needed to use. And that first term of teaching was so bloody hard. I would go home every day and I reckon I would pass out. I'd just go home, sit on the couch, and I'd just fall asleep.
Man, when did it become easy? Or easier? Like,
I would say, I think it becomes a confidence thing, So after the first year, I was just learning. I learned so much in my first year. It was unbelievable. And I had great support. I had really good teachers around me, and they were just awesome. I asked them questions. I used to go in and watch them teach, and I used to do things like I would write down their whole lesson, even the language they would use, and I would stick it on my whiteboard on the side so the kids couldn't see. I'd have post-it notes all over my whiteboard, scripts and just language that I'd had to use, and I would look at that and I'd teach them that way until it became second nature. In terms of how long, I'd probably say probably by my halfway through my second year, I was pretty competent, and then in my third year, I was just flowed.
Man, Shek, so with that, right? So you've led us into your experience in teaching, right? And like anything new, you're just forced to sink or swim. If I was to draw now the comparison from your teaching years over into the fitness game, so you're dealing with the kids in sort of the boxing, say, environment. Can you see like a direct comparison there on how the teaching armed you with knowledge and weapons that you can deploy with the fitness kids?
Oh yeah, definitely. But not just with kids, it's with adults as well. Like, I think, being a teacher, I'm able to explain things in several different ways, so that different kids who all learn differently. Some are visual learners, some are auditory learners. Some kids learn by touch. So I'm able to, demonstrate things in different ways so that I can sort of reach all the kids. I know what language to use. I know how to give instructions, whether they're really direct or they're a little bit softer, changing my tone of voice. All of it comes from teaching.
Man, awesome. With that, sorry to cut you off. With that, do you, I have this train of thought. Do you have like a philosophy in the way that you teach or your style of teaching?
At anywhere, in school and for kids?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd probably say, in terms of style or philosophy, is just the most important thing is to build relationships with kids, give them confidence. And I'd probably say at FitKids, it's all about having fun whilst learning a new skill and becoming disciplined and improving that strength and fitness. It's not really harsh and very strict. I don't want that. The environment I want to create is have fun, joke around, laugh with the teachers, laugh with your mates that come and do the boxing. And then there's also time to listen and be serious. But main thing is I want everyone to come and have fun. And it's for all abilities and all levels. So I don't care if you've never boxed before or if you don't play any other sport. You can come in and join and have fun. Okay. So there's no, oh, you're sorry, like in soccer clubs, you're not good enough. You can't play in this team. I don't care. You can come and join in. I'll teach you. So no matter what your ability.
Do you think there's a difference in being a teacher and being a coach?
Oh, very similar. It depends what you're coaching. If you're coaching a A-League team, I think your demands and expectations are going to be pretty high, but in different ways. Players are getting paid to perform, and if they're not doing X, Y, Z, then you can pull them up and be pretty harsh. Whereas in teaching, the kid might not do X, Y, Z because something else might be happening that you don't know about, or you have to. I think with children, you have to be a lot more nurturing and soft. I think but adults, I think it varies a little bit.
Yeah, it gets a bit more complicated.
But I think they're very similar roles, coach and a teacher. A good coach is a teacher. I think a good coach has the ability to teach and sort of commands respect from their players by earning it, not just by fear, I think.
Yeah. Cool. So if I was to transition a little bit towards like personal war stories, if we're talking about the boxing game, or if you're personally training, getting fit in the gym, do you have any war stories about injuries that you've suffered, any setbacks in that sort of situation?
Oh yeah, man. I've had so many fucking injuries. more so later in life. I'm getting old, mate. I'm falling to pieces. So let's see. I broke my arm playing rugby. So I don't know if you remember. I broke my arm in year 10. So I broke my arm against Marcelin. I think it was Marcelin College, playing rugby. And my arm was just flapping around like this. Anyway, I went off for a little bit. I came back on the game and I finished the game with my arm broken. And then 3 weeks went by. I went to the doctor. She goes, "Oh yeah, don't worry, just strap it up." Didn't even give me a fucking X-ray. Just strap it up. Went back to school. Kept playing basketball with a broken arm. I didn't play rugby because I was too sore. Played basketball with my school team and with my friends. 3 weeks later, I'm like, man, my arm still kills. Went back to a different doctor, got an X-ray, had a broken arm, had a cast on there. Anyway, arm got fixed. And then in year 12, I broke my nose against, I think it was not Brighton. I can't remember which team. I broke my nose. St. Kevin's. I was tackling a guy. I slid down. The back of his boot hit my nose, broke my nose, pile of blood, concussion, blah, blah, blah. Didn't play for a month. First game back. After a month, broke my nose again. That was against Brighton on someone's shoulder. And that wasn't too bad. I didn't pass out, no blood nose. Still broken. Anyway, finished the rest of the season, played with a broken nose. There's not much else. I had to play. It's year 12. I didn't want to miss out any games.
Yeah.
So that's rugby. And then in boxing, I've had concussion a few times.
Tell me about that. Let me just sit on the concussion. Yeah, bro, because I've had serious dramas with concussion. Well, give me your main symptoms. Like, did you have memory loss? Did you have behavioural changes?
I didn't have headaches or behavioural changes, but I had headache and felt like I had a brick on my head. Trouble concentrating. I remember one day I had training and I just did some light sparring with someone and with a friend, and I got hit in the head a few times. And anyway, I felt pretty shit when I went home. Wake up the next day, went to gym, did some weights. Wasn't feeling too good. I went to work and I didn't feel too good. Felt kind of nauseous. Taught the first half of the morning, and then I had to go home, and as I was driving home, that was the hardest drive home I've ever had. I had to concentrate so hard just to stay on the road and get home safely. But yeah, so concussion. I've never had memory loss, but I've had definitely sore head, really struggling to concentrate.
Man, that's heavy, bro. Because with my concussions in my last season playing rugby, I got 3 concussion episodes in one season within about 3 months.
Shit.
But for me, I forgot my Facebook password for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Couldn't remember it, and I couldn't run for 2 years. Every time I ran, I got headaches. So, man, I had to switch up my whole health sort of thing because I was keen on playing rugby, but I had to give it up. So I'm really big on concussion, man. Like as you found, it's brain injury. You know, what does your brain control? Everything. So
everything. Yeah.
So
have you seen that movie Concussion with Will Smith?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I watched that as well. Yeah, I was like, oh wow, that's pretty serious.
Yeah.
So I don't spar as much anymore. I don't fight anymore. So I still train. I love boxing. So I train boxing wise 2 to 3 times a week. I haven't boxed for a while because I've had a wrist injury. I have torn cartilage, synovitis, a ganglion, and bone bruising on the one wrist.
So you need to get to the mechanic. You need a new rig.
Yeah. Well, I was actually saying I'd love it if I could just repair the torn cartilage and you know, get a new wrist, and I'd love it if I could do that. Some gene replacement therapy.
Yeah, just wave the magic wand and just pass the stuff.
I've had a torn meniscus. Years ago, but it was a torn meniscus. It wasn't any one impactful incident. I think it was a wear and tear. So I had a torn meniscus, and I think I had a torn meniscus for a long time because I used to get a sore knee. You know, I couldn't do certain movements, but I just kept training. So I've had a few injuries.
Mate, geez, that's a hit list right there. So I think if anything, the lesson out of all that is we've got to listen to the body, and now we've got to be a bit more choosy with the things we put our bodies through as we're sort of turning the corner and heading towards our 40s. Man, that happened quickly. So
I know.
One thing that we're still resilient though. Sometimes the body lets us down, but the mind is still sharp. So
yes.
So Shek, I'm just going to transition over to some quick fire questions. All right, just pick one or the other, just to give us an idea of how you tick. Okay, so one or the other, which one do you prefer, the beach or the trees?
Beach.
Okay, a night out or Netflix?
Netflix.
What are you watching?
We just finished watching the Chicago Bulls, The Last Dance, episode 7 and 8. I grew up watching Michael Jordan, so I love him, man. So I've seen 8 episodes, and I fucking love them. They're good, man.
Brings back our youth, eh? Oh man, I'm with you.
Oh man, yeah, he's an incredible athlete. I've never seen someone so strong-willed and determined.
Mindset. Yeah.
Yes, incredible.
Cool. Next one here is Nepal and New York.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Yeah, on purpose.
I think New York.
New York, cool. Would you pick country acreage or inner city loft?
I used to think acreage. I don't think I could live in a loft. Inner city house.
Okay.
Fuck a loft. Yeah, loft is like a midget's house.
Don't tell Mitch that. Okay, and Ford or Holden?
Sorry?
Ford or Holden?
I don't care. I don't give a shit about cars.
Neither.
I'll take a Datsun. I'll take a Datsun.
Good man. Okay. And what would be the first 2 things you'd do as soon as lockdown lifts? 100%. First 2 things off the top of your list.
Go visit some friends.
Absolutely.
And probably go in the gym and hit a boxing bag.
Nice. Okay. And if I was to whip out your phone and see who you got on Instagram, like give us an idea of someone that you're following, maybe for a laugh or someone that you're really interested in. Who would that one person be?
I follow FITFit Boxing Center.
Absolutely.
That's because that's where I work. But in terms of interest, I follow Mike Tyson.
Man, he's looking fit. Have you seen that new video?
Yes. He's probably my favorite fighter. He's just a vicious fighter.
He looks ferocious. I was in I was in India for the Commonwealth Games, and our athlete was fighting against Anthony Joshua. And
who was your athlete?
I was with Team Tonga, so our guy was Junior Far.
Okay.
Yeah, and Joseph Parker was there for New Zealand. So they're all young kids, there, but now they're obviously up and going. But man, Joshua was just a different animal. Like, you can just see he's ripped. His conditioning was completely different. So you can kind of see early days who was going well, and Lomachenko was there too. Yeah. So
I think they're different humans. I think Africans are different humans. Like, they're huge. They're incredibly ripped. They're so fast. They're so strong. They're not like us, really.
Yeah. Well, you can see just their genetic makeup.
So,
cross-section area of their muscles are massive.
Yeah, I wonder what it is that makes them so just incredible. I can't imagine like people being 6'6", 6'7", or 6'8", and having the skills that they have and having the speed and the coordination that they have. It's incredible.
Yeah, we have to dive a bit deeper into that. So you follow Tyson, absolutely. So coming down the bend, home stretch. To finish up our podcast here, just give us a chance to understand a bit more about what's happening with the boxing gym stuff, the FitKids. Give us a shout out. What's happening? What's coming online once the lockdown lifts?
So with FitKids, we've got it at one location, which is at South Melbourne, and we just before the lockdown started, we started running FitKids classes at FightFit in Collingwood, and we started running classes at FightFit in Moorabbin, so 3 locations. So our classes obviously cater from kids age 5 all the way up to 17, and then once you turn 18, you can join the FightFit boxing classes. So hopefully when we go back, we'll start. The plan is to start putting up some live workouts on our YouTube page, and hopefully in the future I want to get an app and hopefully put some kids workouts on an app, boxing technique on an app, etc., etc. That's the plan anyway. Long-term goals.
Yeah, I think we've all had a chance to sit down and plan out some goals with everyone sitting on their hands. So I'll put all the links to all the good work that you're doing, Shek, to this podcast, and we'll get the information out there to guys that are keen and near the postcodes of all those 3 locations.
Perfect.
I think the last thing that I wanted to do was just say that even though it's been a long time between drinks, mate, you haven't changed at all. You're exactly. The last time we spoke was probably a couple of years into university. So that's almost that's almost 15 years ago.
50, yes, probably 13 years ago, 15, 13 years ago.
So
I reckon
when this lifts, I owe you and Mitch too. We got to get down to the pub and get in some golden nectar and tell some more war stories.
Oh, we definitely have to. Yeah. What about you? You've got kids now and stuff, eh?
Yeah. Well, we're at 3. God willing, we're trying to get to 5. So Islanders, we think breed.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So
holy shit, that's a big family, mate.
Yeah, mate. So we're a lot more optimistic now that we've got word that the kids can start to go back to school. So it lessens the load for my wife Belinda at home. So I'm just doing what I'm told, as a well-trained husband.
Nice. How old are your kids?
The older one's 5, got a 2-year-old and a 7-month-old. So
okay, so the 5-year-old's in prep.
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
Okay, it's a good age. They learn a lot in that first year of school.
And soaking it right up. So
yeah,
what I want to do is just close out our podcast off today. Thank you for your time today, Shek. And I'd like to catch up for round 2, mate. When the lockdown lifts, we'll catch up and touch base with how things are now that it's lifted and you're up and about.
Yeah. You definitely have to come and check out our gym, man, when you're ready. When it's open up, come and check it out, do a session.
We'll chalk it in, mate. Cool. All right. Thanks for your time, Shek. Have a good day.
No worries, mate. See you. Bye-bye.